We will see Whipwreck in the next ECW pay-per-view.
Oh, really? I thought this was a one and done.
This might be a one and done for WCW.
No, man, for like wrestling his whole career.
Oh, no, he's ECW champion.
What? That guy?
Yeah.
Man, ECW. What are they
Virgil
doing?
dove at Stevie Ray into the turnbuckle. And he hit his head onto the post. And then Stevie Ray like did something, but he ended up getting hit too. So he falls to the mat. And then Virgil lands and headbutts Stevie Ray's stupid.
And he knows. What I couldn't figure out, they had said at one point that every match was a stipulation match. I didn't know what the stipulation was in this one.
Well, the stipulation is Ray gets his ass kicked.
Now, my favorite part of this match, though, was at the beginning.
When he was blocking all the karate strikes and he goes, "I'm the greatest."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part.
Saturn is embracing the dress. He's got eyeliner, he's got lipstick, he's got contacts in. Just going for it.
Yeah. They mentioned very Marilyn Manson, who was a thing back then.
He still is.
Oh, boy.
I think at one point Hogan tried to pin Flair, but then the ref's like, no. Then Hogan's like, well, it's a first blood match. Look at him.
Oh, yeah. The ref's like during the first leg drop. It's the first blood match. There's no pins. Oh, look at him.
He raked Flair's face with the barbed wire.
Which would have ended it either way. And he really was in there too. It was like, ah.
WCW Uncensored, 1999. Something good. We're in Louisville. Well, relatively good, I guess. Louisville, Kentucky. Start off with a silent Flair Hogan hype video. Tony Schiavone, Iron, Mike Tenay, and Bobby the Brain Heenan are on commentary. Tony brings up the First Blood Steel Cage Barbed Wire match. First Blood Steel Cage Barbed Wire match. It's the World Heavyweight Champion versus the President of WCW. Tony says Flair is putting his leadership and career on the line. Tenay says this match will have a tremendous impact on WCW, NWO, and Ric Flair. Either Ric Flair walks out as the 14-time world champion, or he never sets foot in a wrestling ring again. Then Heenan predicts that Flair is walking away as champion. Then they kick it over to Mean Gene Okerlund. Mean Gene says shit is going to get so crazy here at Uncensored that all of the matches are unsanctioned, and WCW has washed their hands of them. Then the fucker also brings up the WCW hotline. Get this. If we call the WCW hotline, we can get the results of the pay-per-view that we're currently watching.
Yep.
And it's just Mean Gene. He doesn't even have a fucking guest.
What was he going to have?
Anybody. Get Mikey Whipwreck. He's not doing anything. So then we get a semi-silent Kevin Nash, Rey Mysterio Jr. hype video. I guess Mysterio Jr. beat Nash in a match. Nash tried to recruit Mysterio into the NWO, and that didn't work out. So now they're going to fight. But first, we have Mikey Whipwreck versus Billy Kidman for the WCW Cruiserweight title. So this looked like two fans snuck into the ring and just started fighting, because you had Kidman in his jorts and wife beater, and you had Mikey Whipwreck and whatever the fuck he was wearing.
Just like a 90s t-shirt.
Yeah.
Just one of those t-shirts with like skulls all over it.
Yeah, it looked like something you got at the flea market.
Yeah. Or probably at a mall back in the day.
Whipwreck was surprisingly intense. I like the guillotine leg drop to the back of Kidman's head while he was hanging on the ropes. That was cool. They fought to the floor, brawled in the crowd a bit. Whipwreck hit a drop toe hold to Kidman into the steel steps, which looked badass. I had to look this up. The internet says the fans were chanting Mikey at Whipwreck. I don't know. My audio, I'm pretty sure they were yelling faggot. Intensely.
Well, I don't know why.
I don't either, but it was funny because there was children there. There was like a little baby just in the front row, and you have all these grown men just pointing and shouting at Whipwreck. So Whipwreck keeps hitting Kidman with shit, but can't put him away. Then Kidman catches Whipwreck with a face buster, then wins with a shooting star press. It's a good opener. We will see Whipwreck in the next ECW pay-per-view.
Oh, really? I thought this was a one and done.
This might be a one and done for WCW.
No, man, for like wrestling his whole career.
Oh, no, he's ECW champion.
Match. What? That guy?
Yeah.
Man, ECW. What are they doing over there?
Were you not paying attention? He was pretty good. He just looks stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. He just looked like local enhancement talent, if I'm being honest. And not his wrestling style. Just saying, like his presence felt like local enhancement talent.
Yeah, that's fair. We have a Stevie Ray Virgil hype video. Booker T is winning defending titles during his singles run. Stevie Ray is feuding with Virgil. Let that sink in. Hulk Hogan is pitting the two against each other, I guess. He named Stevie Ray the leader of the NWO Black and White. A Harlem street fight is what we get to look forward to. And then it bleeds into a Flair Hogan teaser. They're welding shit because they're in a steel cage first blood barbed wire match. First blood.
Yep.
They have Virgil versus Stevie Ray, Harlem street fight. And they didn't waste any time spilling to the floor and out into the crowd. They fought into a sectioned off part of the stands. Nothing special happened there. They fight back to the ring. Virgil does the Sting headbutt to Stevie Ray's dick. Like, Virgil dove at Stevie Ray into the turnbuckle and he hit his head onto the post. And then Stevie Ray like did something, but he ended up getting hit too. So he falls to the mat and then Virgil lands and headbutts Stevie Ray's dick. Stupid.
And he no-sold it.
Yes. And then Horace Hogan comes out, tosses a slapjack in the ring. He says, I don't care who knocks who out. I'm the leader of the Black and White. So Virgil gets the slapjack, but Stevie Ray blocks it. And then Stevie Ray wins it with his move, the slapjack. So the premise of the match was Virgil and Stevie Ray fighting for leadership of the NWO Black and White. But I guess the other members of the NWO Black and White weren't privy to that, or they didn't agree to that or something.
Yeah. There's a struggle for who's the leader, even though you would think it's Hulk Hogan. Well, Hogan told both of them they're the leader. So says that video package, oh, yeah, that's why you're the leader. That's why I named you the leader.
Did he say Virgil was the leader?
Yeah.
I thought he said he needed to keep Stevie Ray in check or some shit.
He told Virgil he's the leader.
Okay.
So,
I thought he said like Stevie Ray is stepping out of line. I'm gonna need you to help me. I'll put him in check, boss. Well, then we go to the internet location. Fat fuck Mark Madden is interviewing Chris Jericho. Madden wants to know if Jericho could make Saturn look more ridiculous than he already has and how he feels about the dog collar match. Well, Jericho says no one can make Saturn look more ridiculous than he currently is himself. And then he claims to be the king of dog collar matches and is not worried at all. But first, we have Kevin Nash versus Rey Mysterio Jr. And I swear to God, Kevin Nash gets the microphone and he says, Louisville, Kentucky, Wolfpack in the house. When I first heard this, I heard, Louisville, it's a guy.
What?
Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck did Kevin Nash say? I rewinded it and I listened to it over and over and over. And I kept hearing, it's a guy. So I don't know what kind of drugs I was on, but they must have been good. Seems like a waste of time for someone to go through the trouble of saying like one line. Like he, slowly walks over to get the microphone. He slowly walks back over to the other side of the ring. He slowly turns around and Louisville, Kentucky, Wolfpack in the house. Then he slowly gives the microphone back. I don't know.
Yeah, they didn't run through their 900 catchphrases.
No, they didn't actually. Well, Rey Mysterio came out. He was all confident. He's in camo. So Nash kicked him in the face immediately. Nash tosses Rey like a piece of shit. Goes to do it again. Rey counters. Ashley kicks Nash out of the ring. Rey goes for a baseball slide. Nash grabs him and then just shoves him into the guardrail. I thought he swung him like a bat into the guardrail, but he didn't. I thought that would have been awesome. Nash starts beating Rey's ass. Then he starts doing his elbows in the corner. Then he sets Rey on the top turnbuckle and knocks his ass out of the ring with an elbow. It's a nasty bump. Nash does a two-handed choke slam into an atomic drop. Crowd gasped. Rightfully so. Rey then kicks Nash in the balls, hits a Bronco Buster, and he goes for a moonsault. Nash just catches him. Nash goes for a snake eyes. Rey escapes, pushes Nash into the ref. Nash and the ref nearly avoid a collision. While that's going on, Lex Luger trips Rey from behind, and then Nash kicks Rey in the face again, which I love seeing a big man kick a little man in the face.
Yeah, it's always good.
Nash drops the straps, does the Wolfpack thing, and wins with a vicious jackknife. It was the jackknife where he just drops him from the highest point. So Rey's not the giant killer just yet.
Well, I didn't think he would win, so that balances out. What I couldn't figure out, they had said at one point that every match was a stipulation match. I didn't know what the stipulation was in this one.
Well, stipulation is Ray gets his ass kicked. I don't know.
And they were doing stuff behind the ref's back. Won't be the last time this kind of a thing happens, but didn't know the stipulation. But it went how it should have went, I guess. Nash winning.
Let me get a weirdly placed hype video. Again, Raven's passing on his generations of violence to Hack and Bam Bam Bigelow. Hack is Sandman from ECW. Hack says he knows Raven and Bam Bam really well and suggests he's more hardcore than both Raven and Bam Bam. Then Hack starts repeatedly hitting himself in the head with a kendo stick. Bam Bam says, "You want to fight? You got it. It's going to be Hardcore City." Good deal. But first, we have Ernest the Cat Miller and Sonny Ono versus Jerry Lynn in a handicap match. I guess this is a match because they cut off Jerry Lynn's ponytail. I guess they were still carrying it, which was kind of gross. Lynn and Miller wrestle while Ono gives Lynn tiny kicks when it looks like he's getting some offense going. Miller thinks he knocks out Lynn and wants Ono to finish him. Ono isn't eager at all. Then Ono goes for a cover and then scrambles out of the ring when Lynn kicks out. He scrambles for dear life. Lynn has to be completely motionless for Ono to even engage him. So then Lynn and Miller wrestle some more. Cat's actually kicking Lynn's ass. Miller tries to tag in Ono, who doesn't want that to happen at all. Miller says, "Okay, let's double team him." And he holds Lynn in the corner. Ono says, "Okay, but only if you bring him to me. I'm not leaving this corner." Then Miller goes to take Lynn to the corner. Lynn ends up whipping Miller into the corner, which knocks Ono into the ring because Ono was standing, waiting to give it to Lynn. Apparently, this is a tag, and Lynn covers Ono for the win, and then just starts repeatedly punching Ono until he rolls out of the ring.
Yeah, it was a little clusterfuck of a finish. He throws Miller into Ono, and the ref, counts it as a tag. And then immediately goes for the pin, which Miller breaks up, but he still counts to 3 anyway. The ref does.
Refs don't give a shit.
Yeah. Now, my favorite part of this match, though, was at the beginning.
When he was blocking all the karate strikes, and he goes, "I'm the greatest."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part of the match. He blocks the kicks and the punches. He's like, "I'm the greatest."
Yeah, that was great.
And then the funniest part is he's like, "I'm the greatest," and then he gets punched right after.
Yeah.
Because he's celebrating right in front of him. But yeah, it was like one of those moments where you prove yourself and you're like, gotta get the recognition on spot.
No, I enjoyed that. Well, then we get another weirdly placed hype video. Benoit said the last pay-per-view was a chance to show who's number one. But Mr. Perfect and Barry Windham took that opportunity to show what cowards they truly are. Malenko's pissed he was outsmarted, then threatens Perfect and Windham with a belt. Mr. Perfect is spliced in, saying Malenko and Benoit will always be losers. Then Benoit says it's about vengeance, it's about respect, it's about revenge. It's a little redundant. But first, we have Bam Bam Bigelow versus Hack versus Raven. This is a Falls Count Anywhere triangle match. Raven comes out with his sister Chastity, who goes to the back and brings out a container full of Looney Tune weapons. Those weapons are trash cans, an ironing board, a mailbox, a plastic gas can, a broom. Bam Bam actually broke it over Hack's back. An oar, like a rowboat oar, a box fan, a snow shovel, a mop, a cookie sheet, and a fire extinguisher. So yeah, it was a train wreck, Looney Tune fight. They try a double sleeper hold spot, and all 3 of them just fall over themselves. Hack gets a table. There were ECW chants that escaped the censors. I thought that was cool. Raven helps Bam Bam powerbomb Hack on the table. Then Bam Bam splashes Hack through the table when it didn't break.
Wait, so ECW's a thing right now?
Well, I think it might be just ending, but Hack is ECW, so.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I thought this would have been before he went to ECW. So he either defected from ECW or
he's looking for a job.
Okay.
2 more tables slide in the ring. One gets propped in the corner. Raven drop toe holds Bam Bam through it. Raven's sister has electrical tape for some reason. And then Raven hits Hack with an even flow, then tapes his hands behind his back. Raven then repeatedly hits Hack in the head with a chair. The tape eventually breaks, and Hack just keeps his hands behind his back anyway, not even trying to block the chair, even though he can. Hack falls to the mat lifeless. Dumb fuck. Bam Bam hits Raven with greetings from Ashbury Park, then sets up a table, puts Raven under it, and instead of winning the match, he intends to moonsault the table, and I guess hopefully hurt Raven in the process. I don't know. But Raven's sister sprays Bam Bam with a fire extinguisher. He ends up falling through the table. Raven then goes to attack Hack again. Then Raven's sister sprays Raven with the fire extinguisher and headbutts his balls. Hack gets the pin. And thankfully this shit's over.
I actually thought this was a pretty fun match. Yeah, it was all over the place, but I thought it was pretty fun.
Ugh.
I don't know the story about Hack and Raven's sister.
They're fucking. Snorts cocaine off of her little cottage cheesed ass.
Probably.
I don't know. They were all just like walking around the ring looking for shit, walking to each other. Then they'd hit each other with a Looney Tune weapon, then walk around some more. It's just, ugh. Then Raven's sister killed it. Commentary killed some time. Shivani asked Heenan if he wants to sit up straight and look at them, and Heenan promptly turned around just so you can see the back of his head for the entire segment. And then we get Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko versus Mr. Perfect and Barry Windham in a lumberjack match. This is for the WCW tag team titles. Now it's a lumberjack strap match. The lumberjacks all have leather belts now. I don't know when the straps got involved. They kept saying it was a lumberjack match.
I don't know. I just threw it in there.
So Windham finally got rid of that ugly white wife beater and got himself a black one. Arn Anderson comes out and replaces Gentleman Chris Adams as a lumberjack. I have no idea why Anderson couldn't just join. Sorry, we only have enough room for 20 lumberjacks.
I thought he replaced Wyndham's brother.
But... No, it's Gentleman Chris Adams.
Okay. See, it would have made sense if it was Wyndham's brother because, they pointed out it's his brother. He's a lumberjack. Yeah. So if Anderson just basically ran him off and took his place, that would have made sense. But
I just don't know why Anderson couldn't just be included. Why did somebody have to go back?
I don't know.
So right off the back, Mr. Perfect is neutralized by the lumberjacks. Perfect needs to hop out of the ring and regroup every time Benoit lays into him, which is kind of great because Benoit would hit him and Perfect would get out of the ring, and then lumberjacks would beat the shit out of him and he'd have to scramble back into the ring, and Benoit would hit him and it'd be a thing.
Yeah, I kind of felt it too. Like,
yeah, I know,
there's
right?
Like no rest. You don't have time to rest. You just got to keep going.
Malenko played littlest ass kicker in the world again. Ming has braids. Just thought I'd point that out. This was a total car wreck that looked like a legit 4-man fight. Benoit Malenko would go to Perfect in the corner and just start swinging. Malenko almost beat Mr. Perfect with a perfect plex, which would have been fitting. Then Malenko got knocked out of the ring, and the lumberjacks just destroyed him. Like, all Malenko could do is curl up. I want to see Mr. Perfect and Arn Anderson. I need to go back into the archives and see if that was a thing.
I'm sure it was at some point.
Malenko gets his ass beat by Mr. Perfect and Windham for a while. Finally, Malenko gets the hot tag to Benoit, and a brawl ensues. I guess Malenko's fine now. Benoit and Perfect both spell out to the ring, and the lumberjacks start fighting each other for some reason. And then Anderson gets on the apron. Mr. Perfect knocks him back down. Anderson slides in the ring with a tire iron and nails Mr. Perfect in the back of the head. Benoit hits a diving headbutt for the win. Anderson, Benoit, and Malenko then celebrate with the tag belts.
And new tag team champions. And it's back with the Horsemen. I'm sorry, not back with the Horsemen, but it's to the Horsemen.
Arn Anderson sure does love that tire iron, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's his new little weapon. Again, I don't know why he had to sneak it, because it was
a lumberjack match.
There weren't really rules to the match.
Well, all matches are supposed to be unsanctioned anyway, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Moving on, we have a Chris Jericho versus Perry Saturn dog collar match. And woo, lad, Saturn is embracing the dress. He's got eyeliner, he's got lipstick, he's got contacts in. Just going for it.
Yeah, they mentioned very Marilyn Manson,
Okay.
who was a thing back then. At that point,
He still is.
oh boy.
Jericho tries to get Ralphus to do the dog collar match in his stead. Ralphus refuses. Jericho slaps him, then makes him go back to the dressing room. Jericho tries to sucker punch Saturn before the ref can hook him to the collar. And then Saturn just tosses Jericho and hooks the collar on himself. And Saturn beats up Jericho until Jericho crotches Saturn with the chain. Then he goes for the lion tamer. Saturn blocks it by wrapping the chain around Jericho's neck. Jericho kicks out of a Death Valley driver. Saturn goes for a top rope Frankensteiner. Jericho blocks it and hits Saturn with a power bomb. He unhooks the chain from Saturn, wraps it around himself, and hits a moonsault. And then Jericho goes for a splash, misses. Saturn wins with a second Death Valley driver. I hope this is the last time they wrestle.
I just didn't think this match was as intense as it should have been, but that was my only takeaway. Because usually the dog collar matches are like intense. It was a chain instead of a strap. Like this was more so they were just chained together as opposed to like them using the dog collar mechanism as a weapon, like
Right.
almost like a strap match. But yeah, aside from that, I just didn't think the intensity was there. But aside from that, it was okay.
This is the third straight pay-per-view that they've wrestled. So it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Well, then we go back to the internet location. Mikey Whipwreck is interviewed by fat fuck Mark Madden. They just went over his loss to Kidman. Nothing special. See, he could be talking with Mean Gene on the WCW hotline.
Yeah.
Well, up next we have Scott Steiner versus Booker T. It's for the WCW TV Championship. So the match started. Steiner stalled a lot. Then they had an uneventful match. Bagwell attacked Booker in front of the ref with no consequences to Steiner. They fought in the crowd. Steiner used a chair. Still no disqualification. Then Bagwell started attacking Booker when the ref wasn't looking. Which, why? You didn't give a shit when he was looking. Why now?
Again, I didn't quite get the stipulation because, yeah,
Well, Booker hits a Harlem
he was
sidekick, goes for
attacking
the
him
Harlem
right in front of the
hangover.
ref.
Bagwell pushes him off the ropes. Bagwell gets a chair while Steiner holds Booker. Naturally, Bagwell ends up hitting Steiner with the chair, allowing Booker to win the match. Booker celebrates as the new television champion. I was expecting this to be a better match. I remember the Harlem Heat and the Steiner brothers had like really good tag matches.
I think it was dragged down by, Buff Bagwell interfering so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, just let them two go. They can go. But also, it's, NWO, so they got to have
Right.
all this shenanigan.
And it's WCW.
Yeah. What kind of shenanigans are we going to have this match? Let's adhere to rules and also not adhere to rules.
Well, finally, we have the Nature Boy Ric Flair versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan in a barbed wire steel cage first blood match for the WCW World Heavyweight title. Michael Buffer says this will be a cage match like no other in the history of professional wrestling. The cage will have no door. There is razor wire on top. When the cage lowers, no one will enter, no one will exit until we have a winner. If that is Ric Flair, not only will he be the new champion, but he will be declared WCW president for life. If Hulk Hogan wins, Hogan retains, and Ric Flair will be banned from WCW wrestling for the rest of his life. And then Flair comes out. He says he's the president of this company. The fans paid for it, and they're going to get it. He orders referee Charles Robinson to not call the match if anyone has a tiny little scratch. Then he tells the ref that it's at his discretion when to call the match, which should already be the rule by default, I would think.
Yes.
Flair says no scratches, first blood. So Hogan comes out and they lower the cage while obnoxious sounds play. Then Hogan beats the dog piss out of Ric Flair while the crowd cheers him on. Hogan cups his ears to the fans, then locks in the figure four on Flair. They climb on the turnbuckle and start fighting on the cage wall. Hogan pulls barbed wire from the top of the cage, rakes Flair's face against it. Now, prior to this, Flair was busted open and he's bleeding profusely. Now, Hogan pulls razor wire and rakes it on Flair's face at this point. Now, Flair is bleeding a lot in this steel cage barbed wire first blood match. So then Hogan whips Flair with his weightlifting belt and then tries to win with a leg drop. Ref says, no, it's a first blood match, while Flair is crawling around bleeding on the mat. Even commentary is like, wait a minute, we were told this is a first blood match. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, and they're like, it's definitely more than a scratch. Because, yes, Flair's face is completely covered.
He has a crimson mask.
Yes.
So Flair starts beating Hogan's ass. Then David Flair and Torrie Wilson come out to ruin another great minute, because this was a great main event. Aside from the stupid first blood shit, this was actually a really good match. But then they had the fuck it up with the stipulation, and then David Flair comes out and Torrie Wilson blew a kiss to the fucking camera, while David Flair had no expression on his face. And then Flair chops Hogan in the corner. Hogan hulks up while the crowd loses their shit. And Hogan does a super leg drop and demands the ref count the pin. And the ref starts to count the pin, but then Hogan stands up and then starts yelling at the ref. They're both bleeding at this point. And I think at one point Hogan tried to pin Flair, but then the ref's like, no. Then Hogan's like, well, it's a first blood match. Look at him.
Oh,
And the
yeah,
ref's
that was
like,
during the first leg drop. It's the first blood match. It's no pins. Oh, look at him.
so then Hogan tries to throw Flair into the cage, and the ref gets taken out. Arn Anderson comes out to fight David Flair and Torrie. Anderson passes Flair the tire iron he used earlier. Flair clocks Hogan, locks in the figure 4. Hogan's passed out, and the ref just counts the pin. No big deal. Flair is declared the winner of the steel cage barbed wire first blood match via pinfall.
And 14-time champion.
David Flair stands over Hogan after the match looking useless. God damn it.
Now, can you imagine if that kind of thing happened today? It was a good match. I'm just saying, like, the fact that it was a first blood match, Flair was profusely bleeding. Hogan was also profusely bleeding at one point. So, match is not over, and then it ends in a pinfall. Oh, by the way, Arn Anderson came out and slipped a weapon into the ring.
It ends in a pinfall after the ref refused to count the pin earlier.
Yes. And Arn Anderson slips a weapon into the ring, hidden from the ref. And then after he hits Hogan, does Flair, he slips it back out. Like, he conceals it and slips it back out. This first blood match. So they didn't know the rules. That's what I said. It was the damnedest thing.
Well, when you have commentary who profess to hate Hogan, they're like sticking up for him. Like, it's a first blood match. It's supposed to be over. What the fuck's going on? Yeah, they didn't even know what to do.
Yeah, at first I was like, maybe Flair got busted open accidentally and the match was meant to keep going. So they just kept going. But then Hogan started bleeding and the match still wasn't over. So it was like, okay.
He raked Flair's face with the barbed wire.
Which would have ended it either way. And he really like was in there too. It was like, ah.
And then when he started just picking up Flair and throwing him face first in the cage.
Yeah, like a dart.
That was Uncensored 99. WCW Spring Stampede 1999 is our next pay-per-view. The main event is Diamond Dallas Page, Sting, Hollywood Hogan, and Ric Flair in a 4 corners match for the World Heavyweight Championship.
4 corners? Is that just like a fatal 4-way?
I don't know.
Here they go again.
Either a fatal 4-way or a tag, the 4-man tag where they have to tag each other in. I'm sure it'll be stupid. But first, we have ECW November to Remember 1995. The event took place in the ECW Arena, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. 9 matches were contested. Terry Funk and Tommy Dreamer versus Cactus Jack and Raven was the main event. We have Mikey Whipwreck versus Steve Austin for the ECW heavyweight title. 2 Cold Scorpio and the Sandman versus Public Enemy for the ECW tag titles. Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Psychosis in a Mexican death match. And then Bubba Ray Dudley versus the Broad Street Bully.
Is this the recasted one, or is this going to be...
This is our Bubba.
Okay. They got rid of the Dudley Boys brothers?
I think they're still there. I don't know. Well, if anything, they need to get rid of that snot one. Fucking useless. But that is our Wrestling Rewind.
Overall, it was a pretty good pay-per-view, I would say. You just got to overlook,
everything.
the fact that they forgot the rules that they've made up.
Well, there shouldn't have been any rules because everything was supposed to be unsanctioned.
Sorry, they forgot their stipulations. Like everybody kept treating it like it was just a standard match.
I don't know what the fuck Hogan and Flair were doing.
They didn't know either.
It's like they just did stuff and it's like, all right, well, we're done.
And you know, they planned these matches out before. So in the planning thing, while they knew it was the first blood match, they sat there and said, "Okay, well,
You're
you're gonna
bleeding,
bleed."
and then I'm bleeding, but we're
Yeah.
still going.
I'm gonna go ahead and bleed here, brother.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. That drove me wild.
Yeah, when I initially watched it, I'm like, "Well, match over with Flair," and then it's like, "Oh, maybe the ref just hasn't seen it yet." And then the barbed wire, and he's like, now like, definitely not a scratch, as they say.
This kind of reminded me of when Hogan beat Sting clean, but then Bret Hart interfered, took out the ref, and helped Sting win.
Yeah.
Because Hogan clearly won that match. He won the match by making Flair bleed first, then he won with the first leg drop, then he won with the super leg drop. And that goddamn ref would not count the pin. But as soon as Flair got in the pinning position, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And Flair didn't even say, oh, count pins. He said no scratches.
Yeah, you kind of got the vibe that the ref was on Ric Flair's side.
I think they have the worst referees ever. It all started with Nick Patrick defecting to the evil NWO. They had Scott Dickinson helping Jericho fuck over Saturn. Now Saturn's a cross-dresser. Scott Dickinson ruined Perry Saturn's life.
Yeah.
And then now you have Little Nate fucking over Hollywood Hogan. Hate to see it.